injustice of what has happened to Cleis Norbury goes almost beyond words. While she faces a long, frustrating struggle to rebuild her life, the person responsible for this horrific crime is still walking free.
How do you cope with that on a day-to-day basis?
A lot of mixed feelings. Sometimes it's anger, sometimes frustration, sometimes depression. Never come to terms with what's happened. I've lost the Cleis that I used to know.
Victim Cleis Norbury could be back in her own home by the end of next month if the local building industry and her family have their way. Cairns tradespeople are pitching in to renovate her mother's house so Cleis can come home and continue her recovery.
Rhonda Norbury's Bayview Heights home is about to undergo some major renovations. 2 extra bedrooms, a specially designed bathroom and large rumpus area all to be added so 19-year-old Cleis can come home. All this should cost at least $30,000, but it's not going to cost the Norburys a cent. From the FNQEB to plumbers and painters, local tradespeople and businesses are donating their time and resources to help out.
I knew a few builders around the place and some plumbers and stuff like that, and it's basically just snowballed from there. If there's a bit of a battle of down and out, they sort of get together and sort of rally behind them.
Oh, I've known Jim for a while too, so he doesn't take no.
Cleis is continuing to make astounding progress since she was left for dead in a Cairns alley last October. Now in Brisbane, she's almost walking on her own and learning basic skills such as making cups of tea. But Cleis's short-term memory hasn't returned, and that's exacerbating her overwhelming homesickness and hampering her progress. While her mum flies down every weekend, Cleis can't remember the visits, doesn't realise she's in Brisbane and can't understand why she can't go home.
The family around her for sure. Yeah, she'll probably get a lot better a lot quicker.
The renovations mean she can have a live-in carer, the extra space enabling her to learn to live independently and continue physiotherapy. Sally Eales, Win News.
Work has begun on renovating the home of 19-year-old bashing victim Cleis Norbury, enabling her to have a live-in carer. On Saturday, the concrete slab was laid, signalling the beginning of her Cairns rehabilitation. The renovations have been made possible through the generosity of local tradespeople. Work will continue over the next few weeks using supplies donated by Cairns residents.
Without the massive community effort, 19-year-old Cleis Norbury would have faced endless trips to hospital.
Left for dead in a Cairns alleyway last October by unknown attackers, Cleis has defied the odds with her recovery. Easing the ordeal, local tradesmen have pitched in to build for no cost a flat where Cleis will be cared for around the clock.
For all the cruelty in the world, there's a lot more kindness going around.
It certainly gives back all hope that there's some wonderful people out there.
Even the local bikies were helping out, giving Cleis a ride she won't soon forget. In far north Queensland, Murray McCloskey, 7 Nightly News.
Of commotion around Cleis Norbury's house lately as local tradespeople do their bit to assist her recovery. The teenage bashing victim is now back at home, her house being renovated for free to accommodate her needs.
While there's still some work to be done, Cleis Norbury gives her new bedroom, bathroom and gym area the thumbs up. She's back at home to recover from last October's savage beating. After a spell in Brisbane where she suffered serious bouts of homesickness, her progress is once again back on track.
She's a lot happier, and it's obvious that's where she needs to be and wants to be.
She's even getting down to some of her favourite Johnny Diesel CDs. But to get back home, her house needed an overhaul, something Mum Rhonda couldn't afford on her own. That's where Cairns businesses come in.
Everything's free, the labour's free, yeah, so she's probably getting about a $30,000 unit on the back of the house there virtually for nothing.
Saturday saw 8 block layers combine their skills. Many others have provided equipment, material and expertise.
It's just amazing that there has been so much support in Cairns, and I understand this is a first for Cairns. There's something like this has never happened before.
For organiser Jim Sackley, it's just a part of being True Blue.
Bit of Aussie.
Sally Eels.
Enjoyed the ride of a life on the weekend. The Cape York chapter of the Harley-Davidson Club taking her for a spin on a souped-up motorbike.
The roar of a dozen Harley-Davidsons thundering down the road to the Norbury home was what Cleis had been waiting for all day. The Cape York chapter of the Harley Club handed over a cheque for $700 to go towards a trust fund for the 19-year-old bashing victim. With the formalities over, Cleis was geared up for the ride of her life, taking to the streets of Bayview Heights. And it appears mother and daughter share a similar passion. Back home, and Cleis gave her seal of approval, giving 2 thumbs up to the motorcycle ride. Meantime, work continued over the weekend on extensions to the Norbury home.
Laurel donated all the blocks and that for us last week. Rainbow Crane Hire brought their truck around with a forklift and that, and we've shunted them all in there on the slab, and it's been going well.
Local tradesmen gave their all, donating time and materials for the working bee. Their efforts will enable Cleis to have a live-in carer.
They don't muck around, these boys. They're here to work, and they're certainly doing that.
Georgina Lewis, 10 News.
When we first reported on Cleis's plight last October, she'd been in a coma for 3 weeks and doctors gave her little chance of survival. What they didn't count on was Cleis's incredible will to live and her mum's undying love.
She's a very warm, generous person, and she's the light of my life.
It's the most violent, a senseless, violent attack on a young female who was just going about her own business, and that was to go home from a nightclub.
Cleis Norbury was a beautiful, vibrant 18-year-old with the world at her feet until 7 months ago, when she was brutally bashed by an unknown assailant and left for dead. When we first brought you Cleis's story last October, she'd been in a coma for 3 weeks, and doctors told her mother, Rhonda, to prepare for the worst.
I kept sort of thinking, no, she's going to wake up shortly. She's going to wake up. The reality is she hasn't woken up. They've also said the bottom line is she may never get past where she is now.
But Cleis defied those predictions. 7 months after that near-fatal attack, this brave young woman is back on her feet and smiling.
I'm still alive.
Yeah.
Definitely still breathing and still punching if I have to, or kicking.
Yeah.
Doing whatever I need to do, definitely.
You sure are, darling. You really came against all odds, didn't you?
Sure did. If I'm not meant to survive, surviving now.
It was October 6 last year when Cleis Norbury's life changed forever. She left a Cairns nightclub alone just before 2 a.m. 1 hour later, her battered body was found lying in a dark alleyway in a pool of blood. Police still haven't found the person responsible.
An absolutely horrific, senseless crime has been committed here. Someone who's very sick, obviously, pathologically sick, in my opinion. I'd liken the injuries here in relation to some of the serious road accidents I've been to. That's how serious her injuries are.
Her prognosis is very poor, unfortunately. Cleis has a very severe injury to the brain. She came very close to dying from this injury, and she still remains in a coma.
Rhonda Norbury waited, slept and cried by her daughter's bedside, grieving but refusing to give up. Then, after 3 long months, came the miracle she'd prayed for. Cleis came out of the coma and spoke for the very first time.
She was actually talking to us and putting words into short sentences, and that's when we just thought, oh, yes. Yeah, it was like all our prayers had been answered, and we thought she's on the homeward run now.
So I was human.
But that was just the first step along a very long road to recovery. For the last few months, occupational and physiotherapists at Brisbane's Princess Alexandra Hospital have helped Cleis regain movement and her independence, learning once again how to eat, talk and walk. Her recovery painstaking but
now who admittedly still needs a lot of help, but she's a vastly different girl to the time of admission.
Neurologist Dr. Paul Hopkins says Cleis's long-term prognosis is difficult to predict. She currently has the intellectual capacity of a 5-year-old and her memory is severely affected. But he hopes she'll continue to defy predictions.
She's made a steady recovery. She's still got a long, long way to go, and you'd have to look ahead 12 to 18 months of further assistance and rehabilitation help before you could start talking about final outcome. But she's on the ladder of recovery, and she's up a couple of rungs.
That's what this card says: loyal, loving, true and kind.
Possibly the hardest part of the recovery process for both Cleis and Rhonda is the distance between them. While Cleis is rehabilitating in Brisbane, Rhonda has had to return to her job in Cairns.
The separation must have been hard.
Yeah, we've cried a lot.
It's very hard, wasn't it?
Yeah, a lot of tears. I'd go to bed thinking about her, and the first thing I'd think of when I woke up was Cleis and what she's doing and how she's feeling.
Sounds awful.
Yeah, the separation was enormous.
It was awful.
I've never been able to leave this unit without tears.
You've been missing Mum?
Miss Mum a lot. Mum, Joel and my father. I love her a lot.
The injustice of what has happened to Cleis Norbury goes almost beyond words. While she faces a long, frustrating struggle to rebuild her life, the person responsible for this horrific crime is still walking free.
How do you cope with that on a day-to-day basis?
A lot of mixed feelings. Sometimes it's anger, sometimes frustration, sometimes depression. Never come to terms with what's happened. I've lost the Cleis that I used to know.
Which is brighter now than it's been for months.
What sort of future will I have?
The best.
I hope the very best. Definitely.
Only the best will do.
Thanks to you. Those stories and much, much more tonight on AMW. A Queensland teenager, her name Cleis Norbury, is alive tonight against all odds. Left to die after a terrible beating in Cairns, Cleis is getting better. But her speech is hesitant and she's lost her memory. That means for the time being, Cleis can't recall who attacked her. But it's likely that she knows him and eventually will remember who he is. Do you?
Actually,
Rhonda Norbury is a very proud mum.
What about this one? What do you think about this one?
Her only daughter, Cleis, has achieved a lot in her young life, but it's not her sense of humour nor her driving ambition that makes Cleis so special. It's her remarkable will to survive.
She's very brave, she's very courageous, very determined, and even at times bloody-minded. And I think that's the qualities that have shone through for Cleis.
19-year-old Cleis's life was changed forever on Saturday night, the 5th of October last year, when she went out with friends to the Playpen nightclub in Cairns. A security camera caught these fleeting images of Cleis leaving the bar. She's alone and showing no signs of hurry, nor was there any hint of what was to come.
Cleis left the club at about 2 o'clock that Sunday morning, and witnesses have given varied accounts of where she went next. One person thought they saw her getting into a cab with a male passenger. Another believes she walked away from the club with a male following closely behind. The only thing police are sure of is that within that next hour, Cleis was bashed to within an inch of her life, beaten so badly that she's never been able to recall exactly what happened or who attacked her.
A local man discovered Cleis in this dark alley 3 kilometres away. She'd been terribly beaten and kicked unconscious.
She's been punched, pulled to the ground, and she's been kicked with considerable force to the head, like kicking a football against the brick wall.
Rhonda was told by doctors to prepare for the worst.
They said that she had sustained severe head injury and they really didn't expect her to live the night.
We found blood spatter marks right up the wall to about so high.
While Cleis lay in her coma, Detective Paul Priest started sifting through the gruesome evidence. Forensic tests indicate Cleis was probably bashed by a lone assailant.
There was one attacker. I can't go into that, how we've established that. And that this particular attacker is most probably a man, and that the offender ran off outbound, west again, along Mulgrave Road towards Hannam Street.
But without being able to interview the victim, there have always been lots of unanswered questions. Like, was Cleis chased into this alley? Probably not. Her water bottle and cigarette lighter were found here on this ledge, suggesting Cleis may have been with someone she felt safe with, someone she knew.
Perhaps this person made some sort of advances towards her, and when she's resisted that person, then the struggles ensued.
Reinforcing the theory that Cleis was not the victim of a random mugging, her assailant left all her money and jewellery at the scene. This suggests to Paul Priest that Cleis may have been a deliberate target.
There's always a possibility that someone may have held a grudge against Cleis for whatever reason I do not know.
Cleis came through her near-death experience. After 6 weeks in intensive care, she regained consciousness, but she did not regain her memory.
Mum tells me that I got hit on the head, but I can't remember it. They hid the memory bit.
Do you remember who wrote this one for you?
2 kids that prayed for me, didn't they?
The kids that prayed for you.
The Cleis Norbury story has touched the heart of the Cairns community. Many have dug deep to help restore some hope and comfort to Cleis's life.
Every customer that comes along, we give them their change and they look at the change and look at Cleis, and it's wonderful, the response. We have to empty the box every day.
Yes.
The doctors believe it's unlikely Cleis will ever make a full recovery, but Rhonda's confident her daughter will again take the medical profession by surprise and will one day remember all.
It's a waiting game and we can't rush it.
While Rhonda is happy to watch over Cleis's slow but determined recovery, what she can't accept is that her daughter's assailant has so far gotten away with the assault.
I'd like to have a piece of that person first, and that would include bringing that person here to just, you know, live with us on a day-to-day basis.
As for Cleis, she has just one message for the man who attacked her. He may have taken her memory for now, but not her strength nor her will to fight back.
I'm not only strong in the arm, but I'm strong in the mind too, because I'm still alive.
Good on you, Cleis. Do you know who brutally attacked Cleis Norbury? Well, these clues may help. The surveillance camera showed Cleis leaving the Playpen nightclub in Cairns in the early hours of Sunday, October the 6th last year. She was bashed sometime later, 3 kilometres away, in an isolated lane off Mulgrave Road. If you saw the bashing or know anything that may lead to Cleis's attacker, please call Crime Stoppers right now.
Refuting claims the work is detrimental to the Hinchinbrook Channel. Max Futcher, Win News.
It's a year today since teenager Cleis Norbury was brutally bashed and left for dead in a Cairns alleyway. While the anniversary brings back shocking memories, Cleis's family has taken the opportunity to thank the community for its support over the past 12 months.
Norbury's some days in the past year have been harder than others.
Looking back on photographs, we can see that she's come a long way, but it's certainly been one hell of a year for all of us.
The difficult times of late, the weeks where it seems Cleis isn't making progress.
A little bit frustrating at times, but then we put it all back into perspective and remember that, you know, this process is going to be slow and steady.
Mrs. Norbury only has to think back to this time last year when it was feared Cleis may never awake from a coma to know the leaps and bounds the 19-year-old has taken. Cleis was savagely beaten in an alleyway off Mulgrave Road as she walked home from a nightclub. Her attacker still hasn't been found. While the family has struggled to deal with the tragedy, the Far Northern community has taken their plight to heart.
Certainly in the periods when I've been feeling a bit down and a bit tearful and a bit depressed, there's always been either a phone call or a letter or a card in the mail to say hang in there.
Jim Sackley has been the organiser of a number of fundraisers. He's also the force behind a major workathon in which local companies and tradespeople donated materials and time to renovate the Norbury home so it's more suitable for Cleis's needs. Today, Mr Sackley handed Mrs Norbury the keys to the new extensions.
There you go.
Thank you.
It's officially yours.
Sally Eels, Win News.
Month picked up his third national cane cutting title in Proserpine.
Cairns bashing victim Cleis Norbury is well on the road to recovery. Her rehabilitation has been given a helping hand by the local business community who helped build special renovations on her Bayview Heights home.
It's a year to the day since Cleis was found brutally bashed in a Cairns alleyway. During that time, she fought back from the brink of death, the vivacious teenager beating the odds. Rhonda Norbury has taken each step with her daughter on the long road to recovery.
Thankfully there's some light at the end of the tunnel now, which we certainly couldn't see a matter of months ago.
The leaps and bounds the teenager has taken over the past year have received a groundswell of support from the Cairns community. The finishing touches were being applied today to extensions on the Norbury's Bayview Heights home after more than 4 months of working bees by local tradesmen who donated their time and equipment.
It's been a great community effort with everybody. I just added the businesses up the other night there, and we've come up with 70 businesses so far that helped us, which was a great effort, yeah.
Around $50,000 worth of renovations have been completed for just $2,000, and Cleis loves her new room.
Thank you very much to everybody along the Cairns who donated their time, money and energy to make this beautiful big room for me. Thank you very much.
Georgina Lewis, 10 News.
There you go.
A $50,000 reward is on offer to help solve the 1996 bashing of Cairns teenager Cleis Norbury. Despite an extensive investigation, police have been unable to find her attacker.
It's 2 years to the day since Cleis Norbury was found brutally bashed in this Cairns alleyway. She'd been kicked and punched unconscious and left to die. It was a crime that shocked the city and sparked a massive police hunt, but investigators are yet to find her attacker.
Cleis was beaten within an inch of her life. In fact, the initial prognosis was that she wouldn't survive.
Today, she's still recovering from permanent brain damage, the result of savage head injuries. Her condition has left her unable to help police with their investigations. They're now hoping a $50,000 reward will encourage someone to come forth with information that will help track down the person or persons responsible for the attack.
But I'm just hoping that this may prompt someone that has kept information to themselves to contact us.
Hopeful too is Cleis, who wants to end the trauma of knowing her attacker is still free.
Not even I can tell you who did it, otherwise I would be out there dragging that person along and dragging them to the police and telling them exactly what happened and who did it.
Cleis was last seen before the attack leaving a city nightclub about 2 a.m. on the morning of October 6, 2 years ago. About an hour later, she was discovered in the alley, lying face down in a pool of blood.
I firmly believe that perhaps a flatmate, friend, relative or neighbour knows or is suspicious with respect to the persons responsible for this offence.
Anyone with any information should contact Crime Stoppers or Cairns CIB. Sonia Campbell, 10 News.
$50,000 is being offered to anyone who can help solve the mystery surrounding the vicious bashing of Cleis Norbury. It's 2 years today since the brutal attack in which she was left for dead.
2 years ago, doctors didn't think she'd make it. Well, look how far Cleis Norbury has come.
Got better, pretty much like a normal human being, which I can't see because I still know that the memory is not 100%.
She gets around quite easily now, loves to have a chat and a laugh, and helps out at a local gym.
Good afternoon, Slendy. Cleis speaking.
She's improving all the time. Her mother, Rhonda, says she's done it all through sheer determination and a bloody-minded streak. According to Cleis, her mum's been her strength.
She was always beside me, literally, sleeping beside me in my hospital and that sort of stuff.
It's 2 years today since Cleis was found lying in a pool of blood in an alley off Mulgrave Road, savagely kicked and bashed to within an inch of her life.
She'd been the victim of a very brutal and prolonged attack and received very severe head injuries resulting in permanent brain damage.
She was in a coma for 3 months and in hospital for 9 months.
It's been a long road, it's been turmoil. We've been to hell and back, I guess.
Now police are offering a $50,000 reward for anyone who can help to solve the case of attempted murder.
Well, the case will never be closed, but I'm just hoping that this may prompt someone that has kept information to themselves to contact us.
So does Cleis.
Well, I would love them to all come in and say that.
Sally Eels, Win News.